everybody, I'm finally back home in beautiful sunny Los Angeles, and what says LA better than the beautiful beaches here in Southern California? Well, perhaps the traffic, but you don't want to see that. That's really ugly. But anyway, I'm finally back, I'm home, and I had a wonderful trip. I'm going to tell you all about it because I did so many things it would take far too long to write. So, here it is, in a nutshell. I started the trip off in Provincetown, where instead of spending the whole summer, I got to see all my favorite places and people for one fantastic girl splash week. We had a drag show, we had pool parties, we had white parties. It was a blast. In fact, the only bad part was almost being killed by a Cuban shark. And only in the P-Town airport do you need a sign to remind people that ecstasy, poppers, and the date rape drug are not allowed to be brought on the plane. Gotta love P-Town. From there, I shuffled off to Buffalo and did a show with Kristen Becker at a place called Babeville. It's actually Annie DeFranco's recording studio and a really, really cool place. Check it out if you're there. And of course, you have to check out the famous site everyone goes to Buffalo for, right? No, not Niagara Falls. Bill's Stadium! That's right, people! It's football season again! Then I made a quick trip up to Toronto to perform at Maggie Casella's Flying Beaver Pub-A-Ray. Perhaps the best named club ever, and a really fun group there. Thanks you guys for coming out. And we stopped at the border on the way home and picked up a little Brador. Remember the good old days? I don't actually. This Brador's pretty strong. From there it was on to New York City, where I got to perform for the very first time at Gotham Comedy Club. It was a great night. I got to see my old pals Michelle Ballin and Judy Gold was on the bill. It was a blast. And thanks to my new P-Town pals who told me they were going to come out and support, and they did. You guys rock. I got to take my very first subway ride ever. And I was trying not to look like a tourist, but I think taking pictures of yourself on the subway is probably not a good way to go about that. I also attended a taping of the Colbert Report, where I got to sit in the very front row and chant "Stephen, Stephen" with all the other members of the nation. And what better way to spend your birthday than to see a Broadway play? My cousin works on Sister Act, so not only did she get me tickets, but I got to go backstage and meet the cast and crew. Here's a picture of my cousin with all the nun habits. I forgot to get her permission to use the photo, so I just had an artist pal doctor it up for me a little bit. And finally, I went all around the city taking pictures of this sign in hopes that it might work on my girlfriend. I don't know. We'll give it a whirl. From the Big Apple to the Mini Apple, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and a comedy cruise along the St. Croix River. We forgot to take a camera on board, though, so here's an artist rendering of what we look like. And if you happen to have an extra $9 million lying around the house, the Mary Tyler Moore House is up for sale. You can turn the world on with your smile, if you can afford a dentist after buying the house. And finally, it was back to my home state of Michigan, where I had the really cool experience of performing at the very first place I ever did stand-up comedy, the Main Street Comedy Showcase. And while I was in Ann Arbor, of course, I had to stop by the campus where I spent 7.5 years preparing for, comedy? And the Michigan Women's Music Festival. It was everything people said it would be and more. A truly amazing experience. I had never done it before, and actually, I took quite a bit of ribbing about popping my Michigan cherry. You know, if it's anything like the last cherry I popped, I'm going to be doing a lot of festivals in the near future, so I better go get ready. So, that was the road trip. I hope you enjoyed this, and as always, thank you so much for reading my newsletters, for clicking, for opening them, for watching the video. I do appreciate it, and thank you to everyone who was part of this fantastic, amazing tour this summer. Had a blast. Thank you all. And as we say here in Los Angeles, that's a wrap.